A very good afternoon. It's the 29th of October 2021 and you're watching Lunchtime News here on TV1. Bringing you the news this afternoon, I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Before we head on to our stories in detail, let's take a look at your headlines this afternoon.
People's Bank blacklisted by the Chinese embassy. Meeting between His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit and Roman Catholic MPs. Protest staged in Meerigama due to the rise in cost of living. Series of protests staged demanding the agreement on Yugadanavi to be cancelled. Government takes a step back on Yugadanavi agreement. Facebook changed its brand name to Meta.
In your lead story this afternoon, the People's Bank of Sri Lanka has been blacklisted by the Economic and Commercial Office of the Chinese Embassy in Sri Lanka for failing to make the payment according to the letter of credit and the contracts between two parties.
The decision has also been submitted to the Ministry of Commerce of China. The Chinese embassy said all Chinese enterprises are reminded to tighten risk control and avoid accepting LC issued by People's Bank of Sri Lanka in international trade with Sri Lanka. Recently, Chinese fertilizer enterprise Shindavo Seaweed Biotech Group requested to get the payment of LC by People's Bank of Sri Lanka according to the contracts. Disregarding the contract obligation, the business rules and international trade customs, the People's Bank of Sri Lanka defaulted the payment of LC and caused huge losses to the Chinese enterprise. However, organic fertilizer samples from Chinese Shindavo Seaweed Biotech tested for the presence of harmful pathogens not once but twice in tests carried out by Sri Lanka's National Plant Quarantine Service. Against this backdrop, the Sri Lanka state fertilizer companies obtained an enjoining order against the Chinese company Shindavo Seaweed Biotech, its local agent and the People's Bank.
Now taking a look at another headline-making story this afternoon. A meeting between His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, the Bishops' Council and the Roman Catholic Members of Parliament was held at the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Colombo today. Our correspondent reported that both government and opposition MPs are present at the meeting. It is reported that matters related to the 2019 April 21st attacks will be discussed during the meeting. Several demonstrations were staged across the country today over the rising cost of living.
A protest was organized by a group of opposition members of the Meerigama Pradeshiya Sabha.
People find it difficult to even build their own houses. Prices of essential commodities have increased. They are selling every valuable asset of the country. These are the consequences of people voting without using their brains.
The Pradeshiya Sabha members wore a black scarf and attended the meeting. A protest organized by the Samagi Jana Balavegya was held in Gampula. The protesters demanded that the price of goods be reduced. Meanwhile, several youth organizations in Gampula distributed leaflets to create awareness regarding inflation today as well.
Under these circumstances, people find it difficult to even have a proper meal. As the youth of this country, we wanted a change that brings prosperity to this country. That is why we started painting murals on walls. But the leaders have failed to deliver what they promised before the election. They are destroying our nation. The only part which is left to be sold is our atmosphere. They sold the Sea of Sri Lanka. They sold the assets that are gifted to our nation by Mother Nature, and they even sold our lands. Today, everyone has taken on to the streets, including the farmers, teachers, the Mahasangha and the youth of this country.
Farmers of the Alahara agrarian movement in Polonnaruwa have been rendered helpless without sufficient fertilizer for the Maha cultivating season.
Farmers point out that even though water is supplied to the cultivation fields from the Yodala, cultivation activities have been hampered without fertilizer. Farmers who are suffering owing to the shortage of fertilizer are facing many difficulties because of elephant encroachment. People are discouraged to engage in farming. Authorities provided water to save themselves and completely ignored the other matter. No one is ready to take the responsibility of us losing our daily income. All of our fields have gone barren. The wild elephants are destroying our other crops as well. Back then, during the times of King Parakramabahu, our island was known as the grain storage of the eastern part of the world. But things have taken a drastic change today. Water that was stored by building enormous tanks in the past are made to flow down to the sea today. Farmers are reluctant to cultivate. They did not demand for water. They only demanded for high-quality chemical fertilizers and other pesticides and insecticides. Protests staged by farmers continue island-wide, requesting a solution to the fertilizer crisis. The hunger strike commenced by the farmers in Bakamuna requesting fertilizer, pesticides and weedicides for the Maha cultivation season continues for the 6th day. Pledging support to the protest, MP Kings Nelson arrived at the location yesterday.
The farmer is rendered helpless today. The community that should be working on paddy fields during the Maha season is protesting on the streets. As a result of this, the country will have to face a famine by the next Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
දැන් ඔබතුමාලා නිර්දේශ කරාද ක්ෂණිකවම අපි රසායනික පොහොර සහ කෘෂි රසායන නවත්තලා අපි යන්න ඕනේ කියලා මේ කාබනික එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ හරිත කෘෂි කර්මාන්තය කියන තැනට
නෑ අපි නිර්දේශ කරපු එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
What we recommend is what is there. This is something that I personally added in the Vistas of Prosperity policy framework under page number 39 and 40. It includes we should produce environmental friendly fertilizer in Sri Lanka. We should be self-sufficient in fertilizer. If not, we will be in trouble. As a government, when they attempt to implement our recommendations, there are other factors that would influence. Let us say economic factor, then the political factor, and hints of certain crises that could arise internationally. For example, what if there's a world war? Then we will have to face problems by depending on raw materials from abroad. Importing organic fertilizer is not suitable at all. We will go back to the old state. The farmers who produce organic fertilizer are strictly against the importation of organic fertilizer. However, the farmers don't oppose the importation of chemical fertilizer. The reason being, no one produces chemical fertilizer in Sri Lanka.
The Lanka urea TSP නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම යූරියා ආනයනය කරන එකට ඒගොල්ලෝ විරුද්ධ වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි වෙන්න ඕන.
The National Trade Union Centre commenced a protest today demanding for a salary increase from the upcoming budget.
Protesters urged the authorities to increase the salaries of government, semi-government, private sector employees by 10,000 rupees.
In more local news, the Ceylon Electricity Board Joint Trade Union Alliance is staging a protest campaign at 19 CEB work sites. Convener of the Ceylon Electricity Board Trade Union Alliance, Ranjan Jailal, says the purpose of this strike action is to protest against the sale of shares of the Yugadanavi power plant to the American New Fortress Company. Now in more local news. The Prime Minister's office has confirmed that a decision was reached at the party leaders meeting of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Pudujana Alliance to present recommendations for the cabinet paper pertaining to the Yugadanavi power plant.
Issuing a statement, the Prime Minister's office stated that this decision was reached at the party leaders' meeting of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Alliance. In addition to this, various issues in the country, including the teacher-principal salary anomaly, issues in the tourism industry, the increasing prices of essential commodities, and matters concerning organic agriculture were discussed during the meeting. Further, the government's future plans with regard to the western and eastern container terminals of the Colombo port were also taken up for discussion.
In more local news, a public forum will be held today with the participation of 11 government constituent parties in Pitakotte.
The purpose of this public forum is to discuss the process of transferring LNG power to an American company against the backdrop of the prevailing socio-political crisis in the country. Parliamentarians representing 11 government constituent partners, including the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the Democratic Left Front, the Pivituru Hela Urumaya, the Communist Party of Sri Lanka, the Lanka Samasamaja Party and the Lanka Mahajana Paksha will participate in this event.
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption informed to the Colombo Chief Magistrate Buddhika Sriragala today that it would reconsider its previous decision on case against 3 suspects, including Minister Johnston Fernando. The Commission informed the court that it will confirm its decision to court by the 3rd of next month.
The cases were filed against Minister Johnston Fernando, former chairman of SATUSA Nalin Fernando, and former acting director of SATUSA Mohamed Mohidin Zakir on charges including the dismissal of 153 CWE employees from their official duties and assigning them for other work during the period from 2012 to 2014. The Bribery Commission filed 5 cases against Minister Johnston Fernando and other 2 suspects in this regard, and the Colombo High Court previously ordered the release of the suspects from the 2 cases.
The official tenure of the Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry to implement the recommendations and decisions made by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to probe incidents of political victimization has been extended by 6 months once again. This extension was made through an extraordinary gazette issued by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday. The official tenure of the Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry to implement the recommendations of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to probe incidents of political victimization was set to conclude yesterday. According to the New Gazette, the official tenure has now been enlarged until the 28th of April next year for rendition of the final report on completion of the tasks assigned to the Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry. This is the 3rd time the Commission's tenure was extended. The cremation committee of the cremation ceremony of Most Venerable Valamitiyave Kusaladhamma Thera was held at the Vidyalankara Pirivena last night. Mahasangha, politicians and state officials were present at the meeting.
Final rites of Most Venerable Valamitiyave Kusaladhamma Thera is scheduled to take place on the 31st of October around 2:30 p.m. at the Independence Square. It will be carried out under state honours. Also, the vehicle procession carrying the remains of Most Venerable Valamitiyave Kusaladhamma Thera is scheduled to leave the Vidyalankara Pirivena at 1 p.m. and will reach the Independence Square by 2 p.m.
Time news here on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, you can log on to our website, which is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. A very good day to you and take care.